What is going on in the world, Lubie? I mean, good morning, people. It's good to have you guys with us. Destined to go to the racetrack later on today. You know, and Mayo's good. I mean, he keeps bringing those Friday and Saturday forms. Although, one thing I find, and I love Tony Screno, but he always ends up taking like the Saturday racing form.
Oh, does he? Does he even bet? Why does he need a Saturday one? Is he betting on Saturday?
I don't know. I mean, is that just a byproduct of being in the media forever, where whatever they're giving away, you're taking one? Like, even though you have like zero use for it.
What do you mean?
Is he watching FanDuel? I don't think so. That's not Tony's bag.
I have no interest at all in even watching any of it, and I almost grab it every week.
Yeah. It's insane, isn't it? Right? You wouldn't know how to read it anyway, right? I mean, look, it's no shame if you have never looked at a racing form. You look at it, it's like, what the fuck is this? That's probably the worst move that you can make in any kind of relationship. Try to teach your girlfriend to read the racing form. Not that she's incapable. No. Now, here's the thing. If she already knows everything about the form and she's pointing out things to you on the first date,
oh, that's great.
How do you feel about that woman?
Yeah, it's amazing.
But is she ever going to buy your bullshit when she's already surpassed you in terms of her degenerate levels, which would be the ultimate test? Because I like that when, you're with somebody. Now, this is only in my fantasies, Libby. Mm-hmm. Where you're with a woman at the track and she says, can you believe this, Christoph? Come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
This is the second time he's put blinkers on this horse, and guess what happened both times? Finished last. Then he has the barn send in a bunch of money, so the horse is 4 to 5 every flash, and you know what happens with 4 to 5 favorites. People believe in them.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
How would you feel about that woman, Lubie? Well, no, you've been with a couple of them already, but I mean, where she absolutely dominated the conversation about a chance to, handicap a horse race, and knew more than you did.
Have you ever? I've had come across women that are into sports. I've never dated one. I've always wondered how that would go.
When I was banging this exercise rider at Hialeah Park.
Nice.
In a total infatuation relationship that I had with this particular young girl. She knew far more about the game than I did. But she was riding some of the horses in the morning.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that will get you in shape, Libby. And, let's face it, she knew how to ride. So
there you go.
There, and that's a terribly Trumpian, sexist way to start a Monday. I'm sorry, ladies.
Good morning.
We're just kidding around. All right, good morning, everybody. Peel yourself off to my Monday. I obviously need to peel myself off some kind of mat, after a nice weekend, beautiful weekend. The weather here, spectacular all the way around. In fact, we had a little bit of everything on Saturday because I got up early, and since I don't have to do these IV bags anymore, I don't have to lay around for the first couple of hours of the morning there thinking, when is this drip going to stop? And sure enough, I was able to get out there early on Saturday morning. It was very California-esque out there. Overcast, when you're right here by the ocean, you get a different sort of atmosphere in terms of the air quality and the consistency, I guess, of the air, or composition of the air, because it's got that salt water mixed in and the whole thing. And it was perfect. It was like going out on a gloomy morning in California. And then later on, of course, it became a spectacular, although I was indoors at that stage taking a blood bath at the Harrah's Casino in Pompano Beach. I'm hoping that they do go for that advertising campaign we've been pitching, because I need to get some of my money back after Saturday. That would be pleasant. Why don't you just give me back what I just spent here? I ran into the marketing director, a lovely young lady named Kim Butler, and I said, nice. Hey, listen, I just blew more than the whole campaign here. So, just get this thing rubber stamped and we'll get started promoting Harrah's Casino, which we're big advocates for. Of course, all the way around the country. I got another little AC trip coming up in a couple of weeks there, Louie. Decided to venture out, even though, financially not necessarily favorable circumstances. But what the hell? When you're down to your last few bucks, you may as well gamble them away. That was something my mother always approved of. You're not gambling again, are you? She talked to me just like Joe Pesci did in the Casino movie when he was talking to that bust-out dealer who was losing all of his money and supposedly had blown the money for the light bill. And he said, don't fuck me now. Don't fuck me. You're not gambling. And that was the same look my mother had throughout my lifetime. May she rest in peace. I love you, B. Wow. I mean, and that was already a while ago now. I think that's, going back a couple of years, Lubie? the passing of my mom. Time goes by. I mean, it just goes flying by. So we're here in another week, final week of February into March. I get to how could it be in springtime? Right around the corner here, and we couldn't be celebrating with better series of days in terms of the weather, and I think it's going to be only more spectacular this week, Lubie. So a lot of good things to look forward to. Now on the sporting front. This is crazy. I finally succumbed to it, Lubie. It happened to me. I let it happen. I didn't mean to, right? I succumbed to some of this Sarni mania that's going on with Jim Sarni, who's always texting me, reminding me that we don't talk about anything that's relevant in terms of the world of sports anymore, that all we do is talk about football here in this show. And that's it. All right, we're ignoring everything else. We're ignoring that could Bill Zito, we were talking about this on our morning briefing on nofilter.net, could he not be a candidate for Executive of the Year?
Oh, yeah.
In all sports.
Yeah.
The way this guy, I mean, literally took apart a team, and you thought, why is this guy making a lot of changes for a team that went to the Stanley Cup final last year? Now, some of it may have been circumstantial in terms of contractual stuff and free agency. I don't know. I didn't bother to indulge and engage in researching all of the details of what this man did, nor can I tell you exactly what he did. I do know that I was surprised that there were some defections. Didn't he make some trades also at the end of the year? Yeah.
That's the thing is like the Dolphins right now have a team that was in the playoffs, right? Have a team that was
top. They're doing nothing
the entire year. Have a team that was leading their division until literally the last week of the season. And they have a lot of free agents. And
did you ever believe firmly in your heart of hearts, though, Lubie, that the Dolphins, even when they were playing some spectacular offensive football, were going to win the championship last year?
No. I thought they'd win. I really thought they had the division locked. They'd be a top 2 seed and lose in the conference finals or the conference.
It never struck me that they were winning the Super Bowl. It just didn't. No. I'm not saying this in hindsight because we know they didn't, or that they caved in and they ended up in a very compromising playoff situation because of their own ineptitude and ability to seal one stinking game that was basically a gimme, and they lose that.
Yep.
And that killed them, right? And that's the kind of thing that is a big separation. Even when the really good teams, championship caliber teams, have a lousy off day, they find a way to beat Tennessee.
Yeah. Especially with what
big difference, right? That was a huge telling point, and it turned out to be a turning point in the season for the Miami Dolphins.
Like the Dolphins had a good year. They have a lot up for grabs right now. If you tell me that, and I don't believe this because Greer's horrendous as a GM, but if you tell me that they come back next year after a good year and somehow are top 3 and finish it off because of the moves Greer made, I would give him all the fucking credit in the world. And that's what Zito did. They had a better year last year than the Dolphins.
They cut Xavier Howard, by the way. Did you see that?
Oh, I see. Everyone's shocked by it. To me, all he's done has gotten worse every year, and he has a huge contract. Like they have so many. First of all, they have holes still where they need new guys.
Yeah,
they have a lot of free agents. But anyways, just getting back to Zito, and we'll talk plenty of Dolphins. See, that's how easy it is to talk.
Well, isn't that amazing? We were just saying how Sarni finally got to me, and I was going to go into a soccer conversation.
I have not lost track of Zito, and we will talk soccer. But what I'm saying is Zito did that, though, right? Zito took a team that was better and made them better. Like, he's outside of Riley, because they've won titles and every fucking year. Spoelstra's turned into the best coach, and they just figure it out every goddamn year. They're the prominent franchise from an executive standpoint in the city. And if you look what they've done, they've turned hope into reality, and now they're just one of the best teams. And it feels like they're going to be a constant in the NHL for years now. They're one of the best front offices with Zito at the helm in all of sport and American sports, which is hard to say about the Panthers 5 fucking years ago.
Imagine this. I mean, you were talking about Dale Talon all of those years and wondering what the fuck he had on the various ownerships that he worked for. I think it might have gone through 3 different ownership situations. Is that possible? Dale Talon while he was with the Florida Panthers?
At least 2.
And well respected by everybody. I mean, you don't find too many people that don't say, yeah, he's a real hockey man.
We built a dynasty. Did they win 3 cups? 2 at least when he was there, and then a 3rd when he left in Chicago?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was great there. No doubt about
it. Like, so we're like, okay.
And we had Quenneville. I mean, we had a pretty good situation with the Chicago ties there, but it didn't work. I mean, you can't always reprise what other franchises have done, even by taking their top executives and personnel. I don't know that you can say that about what happened with the Dodgers since they got the whiz kid from the Tampa Bay Rays. Because it's an entirely different situation. I mean, one team's going out there and buying virtually everybody. The other team has to sell off anybody that has displayed even the slightest bit of ability to hit above the Mendoza line. So, I mean, is it a similar situation, or did who's the kid from Tampa that ended up with the Dodgers as GM? Oh no, he's isn't he some Jewish nebbish from like Brooklyn or something?
His name's Andrew Friedman. I don't know.
Friedman, yeah.
Okay. He has the name of a. I don't know. I've never seen him. Yes, Andrew.
Sorry,
Friedman.
Mom. I didn't mean to get cream cheese on the sheets. Make it that what you will. Boy, we're in a desperate spot. I don't know. I must have been having some wild sexual dreams last night with this nonsense. So we're even getting into Rick Pitino later on today. All right. So anyway, I mean, the guy is worthy of any kind of consideration for Executive of the Year, you would have to say, and it's been very exciting because it's not as if I mean the Boston Bruins started out so strong, and yet, I mean, even though they've come back to the pack, they're still right there with 80 points.
Yep.
So and the Rangers won 10 in a row before they lost to the Columbus Blue Jackets last night. Holy Jeff Rimmer, maybe we should get him on, ask him about the game, but. They had won 10 straight, and that was the longest streak. They tied. A lot of teams are doing this where they get to the record and they can't eclipse it in the NHL this year. Yeah. Whether it was for consecutive road wins like the Panthers had going, a chance to go ahead and tie the record. They just missed. Edmonton had a record going for wins. I believe they tied the record and then lost their next game and couldn't eclipse it. And the Rangers, that was a franchise record. They had never before won 11 in a row, and they had a shot to do it against what has been a weak Columbus team this year. And they blow that game 4-2. So that streak is over. But surprisingly, they're at the top of the league. And yet they're the Panthers right there, and not only in the mix, but I was surprised that they made as many changes as they did. Although, can I name you any of them? Not off the top of my head. But they lost a couple of guys that were pretty key players for them last year. They also were dealing with injuries coming into the season, and they brought in all of these new faces, and it's worked out like a charm.
Yep.
Including, isn't this Solars, the backup goalie? This is his first year with the team, is it not? Solars?
I never heard of him.
Yeah. And he's been great.
Yep.
And Bobrovsky is back on his game.
Well.
It's pretty incredible. But definitely a bold move there, because if they had made no changes, you would have been more satisfied. You would have thought, wow, okay, bring back this same team. Well, let's run it back. And the guy, really did do a lot of, recomposing of the Florida Panthers roster, and it's worked out. Executive of the Year, possibly, Bill Zito. So there you have it, Jim Sarney. We talked a little hockey here on the program. But where he got me, Sarney, who is always on the chat line, and I haven't seen him weigh in yet today. Oh, there he is. Good morning. Have you watched what is that?
It does nothing on TikTok. So that if you're thinking he's directing that at you, that was more toward me.
Okay.
I didn't know there were TikTok series.
He's caught up in this Messi mania. I don't understand it, because Jim is a reasonably, sound, logical human being. Thinks through things. Does he not see through this facade, this farce that is being perpetrated on America by Lionel Messi through no fault of his own? If you were a has-been in your sport and pretty much washed up, and you knew that it was unlikely you're going to compete at the highest levels by being in these superior European leagues, what else would you do but join a clown show like the MLS?
Exactly.
By soccer standards. Here I am, decrying soccer standards. Mm-hmm. Mr. Soccer himself, Mr. Penalty Kick. This has to be considered a minor league shit, doesn't it? Compared to what Messi was dealing with, where everybody is a superstar and everybody's got some babe on their arms and tons of money and tax evasion problems, where they're all living in Monte Carlo right there, hovering around Bjorn Borg saying, don't sell the trophy, Bjorn, don't sell the trophy. So I don't know. How could Borg have had to hawk his Wimbledon trophy? What do you think, Libby? What was the deal?
I think he just chose to. He
didn't want anymore. Like it was a doorstop for him.
But he doesn't seem like the guy that
doesn't look like he's broke, does he?
He seemed like the guy that just lived his life quietly, and I'm sure wherever he lived, he found a way to make a living. I just think he didn't care. Remember, he just left. Like my mom's favorite player to this day is Bjorn Borg.
Borg, man, it was
dashing. It was American, and he didn't even play that long. His actual greatness was very short lived. It was very much like Dorset or Gil Sayers, where it was just very short. It was bright but short. And then he just said, all right, I'm good.
See you later, guys. I'm out of here.
And it was like,
who would think more people would come to that conclusion? So I guess the buzz of being great probably has a certain amount of appeal to anybody of that caliber on a lot of different levels, including Messi. But you would think Messi, if he really was a competitor, would never have taken this deal, money notwithstanding. Now, he could have gone to the Saudi league there where Ronaldo is now in a jackpot.
Yeah, exactly.
What did he do? Give the finger to some fans that unfortunately were in the favor of the sheik?
You follow more than I do. Then I didn't know.
I just saw a crawl that Ronaldo was under investigation for possibly exhibiting and presenting an obscene gesture towards some fans that were giving him a lot of shit.
Oh God!
So what does that mean? Do they cut your hand off there? How does that work? Is there a price to pay for selling your soul to the devil, Lubie? Where Ronaldo now faces harsh and severe penalties for giving the finger to a bunch of people that probably were well deserving of even more than that in terms of gestures and or maneuvers that were designed to combat their rudeness and disrespect. I don't know. I mean, what do you need to investigate? Right? Is there not some kind of video of this somewhere? Nobody had a cell phone thing of Ronaldo flipping the bird to a bunch of fans. But maybe it's fortunate then that Messi didn't go in that direction because he might have flipped his lid also, even though he seems to be a very down to earth and well composed, humble individual. But I mean, to go crazy over this guy, come on, Sarni, what are you talking about here? You just enhanced the case that we've been making against soccer fans being nuts, being out of their minds forever, that they're going crazy for this stupid ass game where nothing happens for the most part. This wasn't even accomplished during the course of the game. They went into that insane thing, overtime, where you don't know how much time is left in the game.
Extra time. Extra.
When have you ever seen that?
I hate it.
In any sport.
Like if you watch the game, because remember, they don't have commercials. So what they're supposed to be doing is compiling all the times because they still stop. They don't stop the clock. So like if you watch the game, they'll stop 10 times and each stoppage is like 3 to 5 minutes. And after a goal, they stop for like 30 minutes. They celebrate like they won the goddamn fucking game 7 of the finals for one goal in the first half. And it's like, okay, so then the stoppage must be 20 minutes, right? And they go, stoppage, 4 minutes. I'm like, but they stopped for like 40 minutes during the game.
Well, at least they tell you now, before the whole thing gets underway, approximately what it's going to be.
Yeah, but that's the thing is they're always like, well, we think it's going to be 6 minutes. And then the refs are like, 7 minutes. Yeah. I'm like, what? I'm
like, Jim is defending his position about this Messi mania, which, Jim, we love you, man. I mean, you're great. And it's okay. It's good to have people that are critical of what you're doing and they're telling you that you suck. It's fine. Because, maybe we are ignoring Tara Lipinski's march to she doesn't skate anymore.
She hasn't been skating for like over a decade.
Skating. She retired 30 years ago.
Yeah, what are you talking about? She's old. She's like my age.
We're likely to see Tanya Harding out there with Nancy Kerrigan dancing around in a pairs competition. I don't think that's happening. But, all of this minutia is fine. It's good. I don't know that it has its place in mainstream sports talk, although, nobody inhibits us from bringing up anything. So, I don't mean to use that as an excuse. Here we were. I mean, we were just getting into a general discussion about the merits of Bill Zito's tenure as general manager after 20 years of Dale Talon and being a complete stiff in the front office. And what did we end up talking about? The Dolphins.
No, you almost went there. I tried to keep you away.
But it was relevant to the conversation because you're exactly right, Lubie. What is their plan going into the offseason?
Oh, no idea. That's what's great is they could use a GM to make moves.
They need Zito.
I don't trust Greer at all. Like Zito, the Panthers did not need to make moves. But again, you don't want to be stagnant. They did have holes. As you saw in the Cup versus the Kings, they got annihilated.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't hold up physically. So they needed to be more physical. They just did. And he went out and he made it happen. Greer's the opposite. Greer's like the guy that's reactionary. And
we sure look good in the early portion of last year.
Yeah, it's like,
let's hope that can continue. Okay, Chris.
And they kept
way to go.
They kept the goddamn special teams coordinator who's been horrendous.
They are a bit of a mess. I'm not sure about Mike McDaniel as an overall leader. He seems like a great guy, but we'll see. I mean, maybe some of that stuff doesn't work. Maybe you're better off being Dan Campbell and just being a nutbag and letting everybody know that this is where you're coming from. Whereas you don't. I don't even know if Sigmund Freud could figure out what the hell Mike McDaniel's talking about at some of those press conferences. That's for sure. But this whole Messi mania. Come on, Jim. I mean, you gotta see reality at this stage. The guy's in a minor league. He's an old fart. I mean, literally, and they assembled the geezers at Caesars here, where they got all of these old guys coming from these European leagues that played with Messi or even knew him, and now they're on the team. And I don't know, is the rest of the league doing the same thing? Because the rest of the league, is there anybody in the MLS that's even close to Messi in stature in the soccer world?
Oh, Ronaldo. I mean, and that's what's funny because Mbappe supposedly, I guess the professor who makes fun of soccer actually follows it a lot better than I do.
Yeah.
Mbappe, the guy from France, has become probably the best player in the world, but no one talks about.
And he's talking about going to the MLS? Get out of
here. No. I'm just talking. You're talking about stature in the world when it comes to
stature. Well, we know that other guy. I think Ronaldo's probably, is he bigger than Messi? Yeah.
No, yeah, because people do argue their worth. So I guess.
And he went and took the Saudi money. So he's OOP also, out of picture.
Well, he's a fuckhead. I mean, Messi's not, but Ronaldo's the one that has a statue of himself in his home, and he's
couldn't be any more the antithesis of what we know of Messi, who is a guy that you easily could find yourself rooting for. There's no doubt. But at what level? Come on, Jim. I mean, this is literally, it really is the Globetrotters playing the Generals, where the other team is there pretty much to lay down. And if they don't, it comes as a surprise. So this is a big deal now that Inter Miami CF is undefeated after 2 games.
It's 2 games.
And they tied one of them. Don't they play off the ties with penalty kicks? They just let that stand? What is that all about?
They do like an extra time and an overtime, but they don't do PKs. PKs are like for playoffs and championships. They have ties. Soccer has ties.
All right. Well, Sonny got to me. I paid a little attention to it. I didn't watch it, of course, because far be it from me to subscribe for $5 to watch this garbage. Yeah. And then but I did check it out in terms of the result, and there it was. Messi in extra time scores goal, and what an heroic occasion this turned out to be for the Inter Miami CF, who nobody knew existed before last year. And they didn't know they existed at the beginning of the season. You could have season tickets. I'm sure that they were littering the Fort Lauderdale Lockhart Stadium parking lot with what is it called now? It's got the Chase.
Chase, yeah.
Chase Stadium. Wow.
Chase Stadium. It's like a better sponsor.
They got a fucking bank involved. Think about that. We're struggling to sell advertising to casinos, and these guys have a bank involved because Messi's on the team. Incredible. But I think it's as fraudulent. It's singularly amazing, isn't it, this Messi mania? Because it's very much like, it reminded me of Donald Trump a couple more. Was it last night? Standing in front of a largely African-American audience and holding up this hideous-looking gold-plated pair of Converse All-Stars, and as if he was Bailey Howe with the high-top blacks. And then, telling black people, hey, it's good. I can relate to you guys. I understand why you love me, man, because you've all been arrested several times.
I just love that he doesn't hear how racist it sounds. That's what's weird to me.
Nobody else does, though. That's the thing, too.
That's the crowd. That's probably not black people. It's supposed to be conservative black people. Again, I guess if you're a conservative black person, that tells the mindset you have. But which you're allowed to be. I'll never understand.
A black person or a woman voting for Trump.
It's again
rich bastards. I understand.
But Democrats haven't necessarily done what they promised for African Americans. So the idea that it should just be assumed that they've earned the African American vote is wrong, 100%. But know why they haven't done it. The reason why because again, the Democrats try to pass legislation time and time again to help minorities, specifically African Americans, and time again it is struck down by conservatives.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean Trump, but I'm just saying the conservatives. So to be a conservative black person is funny to me because the conservatives don't like you. They've openly tried to hurt you, and literally this is what conservatives think of you. And Donald Trump says, "Of course you're going to vote for me. They keep arresting me." You know how that feels.
You guys know what it's like to be arrested multiple times.
Arrested. I have plenty of black friends. The only one that was arrested was for peeing. It's like none of them are hardened criminals. I'm like, what are you talking about, you racist fuck?
He's out of his mind. I mean, if you ever saw a guy unhinged, it's one thing to see a senile Joe Biden up there muffing what day it is, but when I'm watching this guy, I mean, if you were trying to portray, it really is bananas all over again. If you were just trying to portray a guy as a complete lunatic, and somehow, I mean, the producers, right, where the Springtime for Hitler becomes a hit. Incredible.
It's literally parody, but somehow works.
It's amazing. It really is beyond the scope of anybody's. I wish my dad were around to see this, although it would put him in his grave.
No, I don't. My grandmother, my great grandfather. No, I'm up there where they're supposed to be. They'd be fucking losing it.
It's insane. Sonny's screaming about the Messi thing. Thinks we're being demeaning and diminishing what otherwise is a tremendous accomplishment that the guy scored a goal in a recreational game. As if he was in Hialeah, at the home of the Thunderbirds.
It is like
whatever the Thoroughbreds,
plays in like Plantation and like dominates. Yeah. It's like, okay, it's Jimmy. He's
at the David Posnack Jewish Center, dribbling around some of the high school kids.
Like LeBron goes to like Rucker, and Rucker's a good place to play, but it's fucking LeBron. Like, I hope he has 40, 20, and 15.
See, now that's the kind of thing though, where the game changes. Becomes a different game, the street game. And so LeBron's pristine NBA style probably is negated by some of the roughhouse tactics that would be on display at the Rucker Park. Although I think they do play the game with respect there. But you know what I'm talking about, Louis. Where an elbow to the balls is just a sign of gratitude that
it feels closer.
You've given so much to the game.
Still is not professional, and the professional should still dominate. Like that's what I like in MLS. That is, it's still a professional league. You still have some quality players, but the fucking great, like Mbappe, if he did play 4 games for the MLS, he should score 40 goals. Like,
exactly.
He just should.
Come on, Jim. He watches enough TV to see this differential. How could people just want to blindly not separate what is real from what is pure fantasy? That somehow Messi is playing with guys that are anywhere near his aging level. He's far from a shot fighter. Listen to me, Mr. Expert here. What am I, Ray Hudson all of a sudden? No, but I mean, the excitement about playing in a minor league, great, okay, so it's nice. It's here in our town. That's fantastic. It gets a little bit of attention, but I mean, how excited could you get about watching a guy play at a level that's well below his caliber of capabilities?
I don't know. It's fine because you can watch the guy do highlights.
It'd be like you going on the University of Miami broadcasting station.
I hope.
They might kick you off there. I don't even know if I could make it on some.
I don't know. They may be
station that was going by the tenets of broadcasting.
I've watched the games. I do find myself getting into it, but you're not wrong. It's clear the level of competition is just not what he's used to.
It's a fucking joke. What are you talking about?
Now they're loading the team. Like they added another dude, and they're all old. But for this league, they're not. This league, they should fucking dominate.
They're going to bring back Eckert Krautzen to coach the team. Exactly. I think at some point. Who was the goalie? Was it Jan van Beveren? Okay. Is that the guy we had? Jan van Beveren, I believe, was the goaltender for the Strikers back in the day. They had a fun team. I hate that term, the fun team, but they had an entertaining team. I can't believe I use that. That would
it's fine.
Personally,
looking for entertaining.
Talk about the word critic. Yeah, they were a very entertaining team. With the characters that they had on the team. And then, of course, I mean, amazingly, you had Rick Weaver and Hank Goldberg on the call on the radio. Can you imagine Hank calling soccer?
Oh, God, really? Did Hank care about
I like the way he used his left foot there, Rick.
Was Hank into soccer at all?
No, he hated soccer. What are you talking about? So he liked a paycheck there from WIOD, which was a lot harder to gather a lot of money back in those times. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Michael Lubie. It's a beautiful day. I can't wait to get out there and walk a life.
Fucking great, man. This weather's been so amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just walking my dog going, oh, this is so lovely.
Mayo Show 1 o'clock today. He always asks, hey, did you have any dining experiences over the weekend? I did go with the family on Friday night, including the grandkids. And I want to pay props to this place, and they're not a paying sponsor. This is not an endorsement that I've been compensated for, but Bonefish Max.
I love that place.
They do a great job with families and big parties, and it's not a problem to these people.
Well, the food's good.
Yes.
Call it because Landlubbers is where Landlubbers is, so I don't feel bad saying this. Bonefish Max, there's one by you. I think there's one in Boca, and there's one by me. And they remind me of each other where They're the sports bar that's for a family.
Yes.
But the food is good. Like, you don't have
Food's,
to
yeah, very good.
They have
Yeah.
a ridiculously massive menu, and the food's really good. And you get what you
can pretty much order anything too.
can order whatever you want there.
Right. I mean,
meatball parm subs. They have dolphins.
It's not like you got to worry, like man would say that. Well, you should have ordered that here.
Steak, whatever the hell the kids are
anything,
having.
burrito, Cuban sandwich, steaks. I mean, they everything looked like it was really good. So
and they had the stupid arcade thing so the kids can fucking
arcade run. Though, man, I tell you what, they should have a casino license in there. They have a game that's impossible to win where they're hanging $300 from one of the things in like a skill crane type of situation. Okay. But it's not skill crane. I mean, it shoots an arrow or something. And it's impossible. It's $2 a throw for these little kids.
Suctions to the
the suction thing.
Yeah, right.
Get impossible, man. They got like a fucking bowling ball hanging up there, and it's supposed to pull it off and get it to the slot before it falls into the pit. Like an impossible game. It's literally roulette is a much safer play with the triple zeros than this. And I mean, I would say a good $50 went up in smoke between everybody on two kids. They were, I think they were money laundering in there also. They were like selling cash to other kids in exchange for, they figured out some way to beat the fucking system. Leave it to the DeForest family. We're coming back with more in a moment. Now that. Fish Max. I got to give them props.
Man. Oh, they do a great job.
Every time I've been in there, I mean, and you can go in there and slug down a couple of drinks with the boys or go in with a family and they never give you a lot of shit, even though you're making oddball requests like about the macaroni and cheese. And
insane. The portions are ridiculous.
Huge.
The portions, and it's good. The food's good.
Yeah, I mean, one of my grandkids, Liam, sent back his rice because they put some parsley on it, right? And he's like, what's this green shit? Like it was the green stuff in a lobster that everybody tells you, oh, no, that's good. Why don't you eat it? And then you eat it and you want to puke. Like, that was a good idea. That's the lasting taste I have from this $80 lobster. It was the green shit that came out of the brain. But no, they're very accommodating. I mean, because, adults can drive you crazy, but you throw in a couple of kids and it's a whole new thing, right? Plus they're on the kids' menu and all of this other bullshit. All right, but good job. Bonefish Max. I would recommend it to any family, large gathering. They're pretty good. Back with more in a moment. Now that. The time. 8:37. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
This comes from the great Defo Lama. It's the bets you don't make, the chances you don't take, that can compromise an otherwise incredible life, my friend.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
All right, mission accomplished. We got Sarni screaming on the chat line here. We're way off base on this Messi thing. It really is. It's like a Trumpian campaign. There's just... an absolute conspiratorial, circumstance surrounding everything, no matter what it is. You buy a pair of those sneaks, by the way. Imagine you show up to the park in those. Oh, Jesus.
Ugly.
Yeah.
No, there's no way.
Pretty amazing. Yeah. This is what the world has come to. All right. Interesting from many other fronts, the sporting world of the weekend. Lubie, did you zero in on anything in particular? The look on Tom Izzo's face, and we like Izzo because he mistook us for actual college basketball coaches.
Yes.
Along with Roy Williams, who also thought that we were Syracuse coaches when we were standing on the sideline there at the Final Four in Houston, the semifinal round. Izzo was watching us probably. Well, we had no business getting on this bus, right?
Yeah, there was a bus. We stayed at the hotel. We were across the street from the hotel that had everyone, so we were just hanging out.
Yeah,
and the bus was taking coaches and families that weren't in the Final Four, right? Like all the coaches because a lot of coaches come.
And we just figured it was the free shuttle, which was actually on another side of the street.
Because we were supposed to be shuttled for media members, so we're waiting there, and Izzo's just hanging out. We start bullshitting with him.
It was a much more luxurious bus, you would have to say also. Yeah.
And he's like, come on. And we're like, come on. That's not our bus.
Ready to get on there, too. And then we were squeezed into a very tight situation on a bus that looked like it was making its way, towards the U.S.-Mexican border from Nicaragua or something. But, it was, great because Izzo seemed like a real guy. So I kind of root for him. I know he's very demonstrative. He's not quite Raleigh Massimino on the sidelines, Tom Izzo, but you know where he's coming from.
Oh, no, he's passionate.
Boy, this guy looked like he had just found out that he had some terminal disease and had less than a day to live. When he sees Ohio State make a buzzer shot, a three-pointer at the buzzer that does in his Michigan State team yesterday. That was pretty good. So college basketball is wide open. You had people were talking about St. John's all year long because of the Patino presence. Has any guy, if any other guy is coaching St. John's, are they ever mentioned anywhere in the national media for a barely above 500 season that they're in the midst of right now?
No way.
They are supposedly, and I don't know what to make of this always because who is it? Lunardi? Who's the guy that puts out this stuff?
Bracketology bullshit. Yeah.
Anybody else in that game? Is Jerry Palm in that game? Remember Jerry Palm?
Because he's ESPN, so every network has their bracketology person. I don't know. I think
how accurate are they in general? Do you have any idea?
I think it gets the teams in. I think Lunardi's good about getting the teams in. The seating's never right. The seating's all over the fucking place.
Could the average guy not see like the first 32 teams anyway?
Oh yeah,
which are probably the ones that matter.
You got to get a lot of the schmink teams, and then you got to get where they're going to be. Lunardi's lunatic about being very specific about the entire fucking thing. It's just
so
it's hard to be
and the first four in.
Yeah.
Okay, how much credibility did we put with that? And what is it? The first four out. Last four out.
Last four out.
Out. Okay, so they're out. They're done.
Or no, I'm sorry. No. It's last four in because they're the last four in.
Oh, and the first four out.
First four out. That's what it is. They're the first four.
Okay.
Out. That's
so is that approached with any level of accuracy over the years? Do we have any idea, or is that just all bullshit?
We can talk to Ken about it Friday. Ken keeps an eye on this shit.
Why aren't we ever talking about Houston in basketball? This Kelvin Sampson, he's lost a bunch of weight, huh? Probably. He looks good. He looks like he's going to last forever, Sampson, and seems to always put out a very, very considerable, proposition in terms of I don't know about national championship, but are they not in the top four in terms of seeds? University of Houston.
Yeah, it feels like every year he's there. The problem is he's always had his toe dipped in a lot of the garbage, so there's like a pall cast over Sampson and whatever program he's at.
Sonny's actually watching this women's golf challenge. Oh no, it's mixed bag.
First women, I don't fucking know.
What was that thing called when they had Tiger Woods and they used to stage Tiger?
The Little Bighorn, Battle of the Little Bighorn or some shit.
Yeah.
I never watched any of it. I don't know. I don't care about any of this.
Oh, it was dreadful. They were playing in the dark. They had like one light. They would actually you resort to what you used to do in New York, where you'd have the cars line up around the courts there, and you were using the headlights to be able to see.
Yep.
Even though the basket was in the dark, he was still playing. Yeah, Battle of Bighorn. That was tremendous. They were trying to make. Remember when was it David Duval? Was he the guy that was the rival for Tiger Woods for a little while? I mean, he was like very good. I mean, strange looking cat, right? A small guy with glasses, big thick glasses, and very eccentric. You would have to say by even golf standards. And sure enough, I mean, he was a legitimate rival there for Tiger for like 3 weeks, and then that was it. And he got in a battle of Bighorn, and the lasting image I have of Duval was him impaled to a cactus somewhere in the middle of the desert, trying to figure out what the fuck went wrong with his game. Couldn't find a fairway. This guy that won yesterday on the golf tour, he hit 2 fairways in the entire final round.
Oh, Jesus.
They had a stat about it. It was the first time anybody hit as few as 2 fairways and actually won a golf tournament in the final round. 2 fairways in the final round, and he wins the thing. And it was another rookie winning on the golf tour. So what do you make of that? Is it thinned out so much from the defections to the live tour that every schmuck has a chance every week?
Yeah.
That could be, I mean, a huge money-making proposition if you can peg the right guy, though, Lubie, which is easier said than done. Jake Knapp wins and wins it handily, even though he was spray hitting the ball all over the place. It was crazy. But, it does seem like all of a sudden it's a large window of opportunity for new guys to make some money. And the money's not too bad, right? I mean, this was a pretty fuzzy-looking tournament without a lot of big names in there. And $1.4 million for the winner, not too shabby. Everybody bows down and thanks to Sheik, even on the PGA Tour. Thank you, Sheik. Right? That probably was like a $600,000 tournament just a couple of years ago, somewhere in the middle of Mexico. Nobody even knows where the fuck it was. They destroyed par in this thing. Just brought the course to its proverbial knees, much like they used to do when there was no wind at the Blue Monster. But anyway, so golf gearing up for what, Lubie? What do we have coming up? The Champions Tournament Players Championship? Is that before the Masters or after?
No, there's no before. The Masters isn't until April, right? There's got to be
April, yeah. So what do they have? The Players Championship first, the one with the island hole. That's always one of my favorites.
Sure.
On the professional golf tour. So that's happening. Spring training is underway. Shohei Ohtani makes his Dodger debut tomorrow, Lubie, in a spring training game. Shohei Ohtani, who's going to be a designated hitter this year, and says he wants 50 at-bats in spring training to get ready for the regular season, and that despite having Tommy John surgery yesterday, he will be ready for the regular season.
Okay.
Not to pitch. He's not going to pitch this year. And
but he's hitting because it's his elbow, so that doesn't affect hitting, I guess. I don't know.
Well, Harper, he came back from Tommy John, and he was ripping the ball pretty good.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper, which was weird. I mean, here was an outfielder needing Tommy John surgery, but now entrenched there at first base. And with the Phillies not be, I mean, is it worth a shot? How many changes did they have to their team? Didn't they come back pretty much the same, or did they lose one of their stud pitchers in the offseason?
I thought they lost a pitcher, but I thought otherwise they came back pretty much intact.
All right. I still, I don't know why. I mean, is this just because I've been gargling with milk of magnesia? But why won't the Braves end up being the world champion this year? They've kind of been flirting with it. They did win one, right? What? Did they win a couple of years ago? The Braves finally won a championship?
The Braves won 2 years ago.
Yeah. So I mean, they did it. I know they had all of those great teams all of those years. They only won one World Series. That was kind of a Buffalo Bills type phenomenon where you're good enough to get there every year. Most people would just be conceding the Dodgers the World Series. But if you could get 6-1 on the Braves, Lubie, would you go ahead and take a small sniff on that, or is that too small of a price for a season-long wager?
Their roster's really good, and their pitching staff's loaded. They have
6-1.
Probably a better overall pitching staff than the Dodgers. Dodgers have the names. The Dodgers have a ridiculous lineup. I mean, they already had a really good lineup, and then they go and add
in more,
Ohtani, and they add the other guy, the other Japanese guy to the rotation, so it evens it out. But that's the thing, is everyone's going to be on the Dodgers, so you can get probably a good price on a team
anybody else
to win. Like the Braves have a legit shot to win, and again,
how could they not?
It sucks now. Like the Mets, I guess, may rebound this year if guys are healthy. Fine. The Marlins are going to be a disaster. The Nationals, no one knows what the fuck's with them. The Phillies, yes.
They've been nondescript, non-factor for years.
They were in the NLCS last year's World Series 2 years ago. Last year, found themselves in the NLCS, losing to the Diamondbacks. But
listen to your total recap of last year's baseball season. Nice job.
I don't know. I can't name you players. If you know I'm naming teams. But the Braves are loaded. Like the Dodgers have a better roster, but the Braves aren't a far cry. So you probably get a much better. The Dodgers are going to be overwhelming favorites to win everything. So to take them is stupid.
Oh, I think their odds are prohibitive. I mean, it might be 3-1 or less to win the championship. But so many strange things happen. Who knows if this Yamamoto guy is going to be the real deal? Do we know for a fact? I mean, these guys come over from Japan. They're all supposed to be phenomenal. And I would say, what? Have they hit on half of the Japanese superstar pitchers that have come to play in Major League Baseball? You've had, a few guys that were really good for a sustained period of time. What would it be? Yu Darvish, Hideki Nomo. What was good for a long period of time?
I don't know his name. Hideo Nomo.
Hideo Nomo, yeah.
Darvish. Daisuke was good early in his time with the Red Sox.
But it wasn't sustained for any long period of time.
None of these guys had like...
I mean, not for the hype that came in. Yeah.
Ohtani would be the first Hall of Famer, and that's because of the hitting. Like, it's not... If he was just a pitcher with his injuries, you're not putting him in a Hall of Fame. He's just won 2 fucking MVPs in a 3-year span and is probably the best hitter in the game and a top 10 pitcher in the game. So, but it's not just pitching. You're not wrong. They come in with a flame. They have like 3 or 4 really good years.
Yeah.
And then they become average. I mean, that's what we've gotten so
Hideki Arabu, that was a disaster. There have been, a number of guys that just were horrible also. So, I mean, could they be, I don't know if they're going to be wrong about this guy. Now, do we count Senga of the Mets? He's going to miss the early portion of the season. Was he not a Japanese phenom before he came to the Mets? Senga?
I think so.
He looked really good last year. Unfortunately, hurt himself already, some kind of shoulder problem, and going to miss, I think, like into the summertime, somewhere along there. So, already problems for a lot of teams. The Yankees have themselves winning the championship this year. If you read the New York Post, it's over because Juan Soto hit this home run in an exhibition game. And now he's going to have a monster season. Of course, he's playing for the big, fat, long-term contract. Which do the Yankees end up offering that up? That's possible. Last year, you would have to say that Juan Soto ranked among, it really was the replacement component in the age-old debate. What's more overrated, the stone crab or Bryce Harper? Harper has taken himself out of the equation by looking like he's not necessarily underrated, but certainly was living up to whatever long-term hype people had for him. Much more so than Juan Soto has, I believe, at this stage. Well, what is the guy hit like 260 last year, Lubie?
He's become a good player.
Am I overly concerned with batting average? I mean, does it matter at all?
They don't care. They don't care about batting average on any level, but I mean, it still is indicative of certain things.
How could that not be a factor, though, Lubie? I mean, if you look at shooting percentages in the NBA, I'm amazed. We were talking about this the other day. It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's averaging 31 points a game, a couple behind Luka for the top spot in the league. And he's shooting like 54 or 55% from the field. And this is a guy that, hoists a lot of bombs.
Yeah, it's not just
under pressure.
Yeah, he shoots mid-range. Well, and he shoots from the perimeter. Yes, 100%.
And he's being dogged all the time. So, it's not like he's getting a lot of freebie shots. He does get, easy baskets at the rim. But, usually after flying to the hoop, in some kind of whirling dervish fashion. But, how could that not count? If the guy's shooting like Iverson, like 32% from the field, do you have the same respect for it? No.
Oh, no. That's the thing. The NBA holds shooting percentage near and dear. The batting average, because what they've done is they've gotten more specific about the averages. So they've looked into, they've thrown in walks.
I understand if you're throwing in 100+ walks and you're hitting 260, okay.
That's the thing. They've thrown in walks and they've sort of discounted strikeouts because I guess, which I still don't understand why a strikeout means nothing, but they've made strikeouts mean less. So it's sort of bastardized what an average is.
Remember how ashamed you were when you struck out?
Yes, I was talking about this with Segredo last week.
Just disgraced. You felt like, I don't even want to go back to the bench. I just want to run straight out into the field and keep running until I get to the fence there, and then I'm going to hop that and keep running into the next town. I'm so embarrassed. And now I understand that. Who could hit this pitching, Lubie? You ever watch the action on some of these pitches, even from guys that suck?
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane to think that this, pitch is arriving at 100 miles an hour with movement on it. And, and the next pitch is going to be coming in at 72 miles an hour and drop, right to the bottom of the strike zone from up by your eyeballs. Not easy. Not easy to hit. But I still, I mean, I have to put some stock in batting average, in rating a player and saying whether or not this guy really deserves the kind of hype that goes along with Juan Soto. So, I mean, shouldn't that guy be hitting like 350 if he's so great?
Yeah.
Or, something that just blows your mind, like George Brett-esque in terms of batting average.
I mean, really
with
good
the
players
power
today still hit over 300. They may look. You're not seeing guys flirt with 350, 360 that are outside of like contact guys like Arise, but the good player like Judge will hit around 300. He's not hitting 240. Like
his average was low last year, and that was part of the reason for the Yankees' decline.
Should still be high 290s, low to mid 300. I mean, that's just you're hitting the ball, you're getting on base. Like that's what leads to a good average. I don't know. The game's fucking weird now. It's just
it's the dynamic of hitting has certainly changed, and that's why. Well, what is the first move you're going to make when your team sucks? You're going to fire the hitting coach, because that's where it's all happening, right there. All right, a lot of fun. We were all over the place today. Thanks very much for tuning in. I didn't mean to, arise the what would it be? The emotions of one Jim Sarney about the whole Messi thing. We love you, Jim, but it's all bogus. I mean, it's a facade. It's okay. People get caught up in all kinds of shit, Lubie. I mean, like we were talking about. What is the appeal of this Donald Trump? What would it be? I'm not saying that Biden is any prize. It just
he sticks up for the white person. I mean, that's whether you say he's hateful or not, which he is. He's very full of hate. But it's that everyone else is being talked about, but the white person now. Well, first of all, there's a reason.
I mean, like the ultimate con job is being done.
Still has the advantage, but that's why it's the man and maybe even white woman feel I mean, it's ridiculous to say because they're not disenfranchised. They don't know what disenfranchised means. Feel left out. And he's very loud and clear about the white person.
Yes.
So the people that can't see that white people don't need that. White people have gotten the advantages to this day.
Yes.
It's okay that other people are talked about. The person that is fucking ignorant and can't realize that's why white people aren't being talked about.
People with sheets on their head in the shape of cones.
That's the thing. Yes. It's not all hate. It's not all people full of hate because I have friends and family that are very Trump, and they're not hateful people. They're actually pretty open-minded, so that's why I don't understand it, but he does speak to them. That's what Ken and I were talking about last week, is he does speak to you. Now you should think why he speaks to you, but they don't think about that part. They just think about, oh, yes, I agree with that psychotic fucking thing you just said out loud to the world.
Makes sense to me. Sonny's getting angry now. He's starting to, starting to throw low shots here at us that we should get Geffner on because we don't know what we're talking about.
I was writing everything I said. That's what gets mad at him. He's like, everyone's healthy. He named a bunch of people that no one gave a fuck about. Trevor Rogers sucked for 2 years, even before he got injured. So that's not what I was talking about.
The Marlins are going to be bad this year.
Puck,
I believe that.
Puck isn't a fucking starting pitcher in Major League, so you're throwing your name there. Max Mayer, before he played 1 inning and then got hurt and was out for 2 fucking years. So, okay, so he's healthy now. I don't know what the fuck he is. Sixto, we're the only ones that ever mentioned Sixto.
Who is Sixto anymore?
So it's fucking weird. And if you're throwing...
Is he actually going to be in a rotation, Sixto?
That's what Cerny's trying to talk about.
Oh,
and Weathers, again, you're naming random people that weren't in the rotation. To me, it was Cabrera, who I think they traded away and is still injured. Yeah. Mayer, who's not healthy because he hasn't pitched in 2 years, so you don't know what the fuck Mayer is.
Who's this guy, Perez?
And Alcantara won you a Cy Young 2 years ago and sucked last year and then got hurt and is still hurt. So that's what I was referring to. So actually, I do know what the fuck I'm talking about.
No, not according to you.
We just don't give a shit about the Marlins because they don't care. They don't have any bats.
There's zero buzz about them.
They signed no new bats. And Tim Anderson's not a bat. He's a contact hitter who sucked last year and has fallen off if you look at his numbers the last 3 years. And the one bat they had who was consistent last year, who you loved, Cerny, is now in another uniform and took a ridiculously low contract that the Marlins could have afforded and still let him walk. So that's why we don't talk Marlins. It's not about not knowing. No one's talking Marlins because they literally balked at the offseason, one that they needed to make a lot of moves and did the
it looked like they regressed. I mean, it did.
Didn't look like. You can remove that phrase. They regressed. Roster-wise, they skated by last year with a lot of luck, and then they let everyone go and sign no one. So that's regressing.
It wasn't an impressive offseason. Now, you would hardly say that the Marlins won the offseason this year over other teams.
My problem isn't winning or losing the offseason. I don't give a shit about that because, again,
just make some shrewd moves. We know what it is. Yeah. You're not going to be able to go out and buy all of these players like the Dodgers did and maybe some other teams.
You don't need to. Look, you said it, Zito. We would have thought they lost the offseason, right? We don't know what the fuck he was doing. But he knew what he was doing. So I don't care.
Right. You find some players like they did last year when they brought Berger in and
Eng
Bell.
was good about that. Why you got rid of Eng? So why can't this new guy go and find people? Who did they bring in? I don't know who the fuck they didn't bring anyone.
They brought in a whiz kid from from Tampa Bay, and these are the moves he's made so far.
Nothing.
All right, there you go, Jim. You got us going again, man. This whole show is dedicated to our buddy Jim Sarney, who will call us out. But I think you found that somewhat insulting there, Lubie. That your
just go get someone who knows.
Integrity was questioned. Your lane integrity was questioned when it came to talking about the Marlins.
It's just the paying attention. I paid attention to what? What is there to?
There hasn't been much.
If you're going to do nothing, what is there for me to talk? Well, Marlins did nothing again today. Go Marlins.
Jim's is incessant here. He's relentless. All right, well, we'll get out of here.
There you go.
So we were only getting into bigger jackpots with our good friend Jim Sarney.
There's no jackpots. He's probably happy. He got us talking Marlins. What's funny is Sarney didn't listen to our show when we were on the radio. Your big thing was saying, I don't give a shit what other people are talking about. We're going to talk some baseball. We're going to talk some hockey. Yeah. So that's funny. Soccer and we did talk soccer when you made fun of it. So
we had the reasonable, authoritative people on. Like we would defer to Phil Shane.
Yeah.
When there was something of, yes, of course, I would make an ass of myself with stupid questions and assertions. But Shane would quickly jump down my throat because he knows me. And, I've been giving him shit about soccer since I met him like 30 some odd years ago.
We did 4 hours a day, so we would get all the sports. That's the problem.
You know what? I'm not really inclined to just want to talk about one sport. That never has been
an hour to 2 hours a day. Then it's hard to talk about sports that don't matter when they don't matter. Now, when baseball's on, we talked World Series. You were the one championing the fucking Diamondbacks.
I mean, is Jim aware that the NYU women's basketball team, New York University, home of Satch Sanders, NYU women's basketball team is, I believe, playing either they played over the weekend or tonight to possibly complete an undefeated season in Division III women's basketball.
Wow.
Has he mentioned that to us? No.
Never.
How does that get by him? That's his game. Come on, Jim. Let's get with it.
You sexist pig.
How can you ignore a story like that? And I know about it.
He's going to make it the headline of the next.
Sarney Scrolls, man. I'm helping him write the scrolls. We're just here to help others. That's what we do. All right, Louie, a lot of fun today. We'll see you guys 1 o'clock, Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. And I'm going to put in another word for Bonefish Max. I don't know if I think Mayo is somewhat of a fan of that. He would not be inclined to go there, though, because it is the kind of place that, if it's a sort of an in-between place from a bunch of guys that are, going to meet somewhere.
Yeah,
I'll recommend that. Easy to find, right? It's right there off the corner, Sample and the Federal.
I mean, the one by me on Sample.
But they were slammed, man, at like 6:30 at night on Friday night, and I didn't see no problems whatsoever, right? And very accommodating for servers to be able to put up with not just the parents but kids.
They do. They do.
Not easy. They do a great job. Yeah.
I'm not fighting it. I mean, I think Mayo would like it. Their fucking fish sandwiches is ridiculous.
Food was great. Yeah.
The food's good. They do
nachos, top-notch version of nachos. It's not one of those things where all the dry chips are underneath what looks to be a very attractive top end of the thing, and then you realize after 2 chips, hey, we're fucked. Can we get another cup of chili? No, I don't care if there's an upcharge.
No, whenever we go out with my family, we either go to Roadhouse because again they're louder and they're open with kids being loud, or we go Texas Roadhouse, or we go to Bonefish Max because the food's good. The parents don't miss out on good food. Just because a lot of the time, if you want to keep kids occupied, you have to go to like a fucking Chuck E. You have to go to a place that the food sucks.
Some place, where you're eating Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Good food. They have good cocktail specials. Yeah. The service is good. It is loud, but it's not too loud. Like you can talk and bullshit. And then there's also a vibe for the kids. Yeah, Bonefish Max is right. Look. You don't have to tell me.
I had to take a line of credit out at the Cage, though, for that little arcade that they have. Literally, man, I signed a marker. It was unbelievable. $20,000, Mr. DeForest. Sure that's going to get you through? I don't have to make 2 trips to the bank. All right, we got to get out of here. A lot of fun being with you. Thanks, Jim Sarney, for fueling the show with all kinds of interesting stuff. And we appreciate that. And Lubie apologizes for speaking on the Marlins because
I don't apologize. I obviously know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Nobody paid more attention to him than we did on the radio with the drive for 75 campaign.
They would be dreadful for years, and you would talk about them.
Even Mattingly was aware of it. That was great.
Drive, your run for whatever, the this, the that.
I think we became popular inside the organization because we were the only guys talking about them in any kind of positive light. And yet it was very difficult to maintain that positive light as they were getting trounced game after game. Yes. But that one season, they came like within one of eclipsing the total.
Yes.
And on the last 2 days of the year, they had to face DeGrom and
Syndergaard, and I think Matz too. I think Matz.
Thor. They had to
Syndergaard, DeGrom, and
Syndergaard. Yeah.
They all were healthy that one fucking year. Yes.
And those were the last 2 games, and they got shut out in both games, like 1-0, and they ended up under the total. That was a disgrace. Tough luck, though. But I mean, it made the season interesting, I would have to say, all the way through. I mean, because people started to relate to our fetching about these tough 1-run losses we were suffering. And then to come down to that, where, I mean, you need a miracle, but it's doable to get the entire – you get your money's worth on that bet if your team is close.
Oh, yeah.
That's for sure.
I don't think that's going to be the case this year. The number is a regular number.
Oh, no, I'm going deep under on this thing. I'm just hoping it doesn't get any lower than 78 before I get to Atlantic City.
Exactly.
Where I plan on placing my bet, so I'll have reason to return at the end of the baseball season. Although the Marlins kicked my ass the last time I was there. Which I believe was like last July or something. And I needed them to go down. Who was it? They were playing St. Louis. And I needed them to go down and complete like a 14 parlay. And St. Louis gets a home run in the top of the 9th inning on like an 0-2 count where this guy had looked like he would never make contact with the ball. Hits a 2-run homer, puts St. Louis up by a run. They bring in this guy that turned out to be one of their top closers. And all he needs to do is get 3 fucking outs.
Didn't they steal home or something? Wasn't it the game where they won on the most?
It was crazy. Yeah, they had like, the guy threw the ball away he was throwing to first base, and he threw it in the right field, the pitcher. He takes 2 steps over there, and then he lobs it to nobody. And 2 runs scored, and they turned out to be the winning runs. And I wanted to kill myself. How can you lose like that with the fucking Marlins? Of course I went against them that night. Next night they get trounced. Same reliever comes in and shuts them out. 1, 2, 3. Strikes out all 3 guys. 9 pitches. A perfect inning. All right, we got to get out of here, man. We're schlubbering on here. Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, 1 o'clock today. For Mike Lubie Lewitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. And for Jim Sarney, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:07.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my